Hello everybody, welcome back to the 20-something Vision podcast. My name is Raymond and today we're going to be talking about timing. The title of today's podcast is Timing is Everything. Now, when I say timing is everything, what I mean is literally that. Timing is everything. Timing is a very important aspect of life, and I believe that's really important to understand the importance of timing, because a lot of things in life that you want comes with patience and endurance. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to, is it the right timing? So with regards to timing, there are 3 points that I'm going to touch on today. Point number 1, you are where you're supposed to be. Right now, where you are, you're meant to be there. However, does not mean that it's a permanent situation, but you are where you're supposed to be. Point number 2, when the time is right, it'll all fall together. Like I just mentioned, your situation isn't permanent. So when the time is right, it's all going to come together just like a domino effect. Point number 3, there are greater things on the other side of patience and waiting. When you go through strong endurance, and let's say, for example, maybe you are waiting for something to come through and it's tough, you're kind of getting impatient, but that struggle, that grind that you're going through, or maybe it's kind of just a hard time that you're going through, is building you up to be able to appreciate and be able to handle what you've been, either praying for, dreaming, or wishing for. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So going back to point number 1, you are where you're supposed to be. And it could be even myself including. I'm pretty sure I've had this experience or feeling before. And I'm sure maybe you listening have had a similar experience as well. You may see people doing something that you want to do, or you may see people around you or people on the internet, social media, maybe celebrities, living the dream that you want to live. And you kind of look at what you're going through right now and you're like, it kind of puts you down. You're like, wow, I really wish I could do that. But right there, that I wish is you comparing yourself to others. And that is a really big no-no. When you compare yourself to others, in a way, you're putting yourself down and you're kind of forgetting what blessing you have personally. So I really encourage you to not compare yourself to others and what others have, and understand that what you have currently is your blessing. Everybody has their own blessing, but what is really important is that you need to maximize the potential of your blessing, maximize the potential of what you have in your life, and create something that you want to create. The bottom line is, we're not all dealt the same cards in life. Some people are going to be born wealthy. Some people are going to be born in poverty. Some people are going to be born middle class. Whatever it is, it's really important to understand that it's not going to be the same for everybody. And honestly, everybody is equal. However, not everybody comes from an equal background. Life isn't fair. I hate to be negative in this point, but it's the reality. Life is not fair. It's not going to be the same for everybody. But that doesn't mean that you just give up. That means that you take what you have and you try your best with it. Once you understand that, you'll be able to see that there's nothing in this world that you can't do. Well, you may ask me, what does self-comparison have to do with timing? And what's really important to understand is that when you see people living a lifestyle that you want to live, or they have something that you want, it's really important to understand that maybe right now is not your time, but in the future, that's going to be your time. So don't sit and just compare yourself and put yourself down. Instead, use it as motivation and understand that it's not your time right now, but in the future, it will be your time. So keep that in mind. And there was a really good thing that Steve Harvey once said on his show. He has said, if you're going through hell, why stop there? Because if you stop there, you're going to stay in hell.
If you're going through hell, keep going. Why would you stop there? I was in hell, so why stop now? If you're going through hell, you should keep going, because to stop now, you in hell, right?
So on the other side of that is what you really want. And I like to compare that example to, for example, life is like walking upstairs. You're going to start at the bottom, right? We all start at the bottom, but you keep on walking up. The more you walk, the more closer you get to, your dreams and your goals. But if you just stop at one point, then, that's it. That's it. And that's what Steve Harvey is trying to get at. You have to go through tough things, to get to the other side. So if you're going through a tough situation, you're going through, I like to say a tough situation is a temporary situation. It's not going to be like that forever. But if you're going through a tough situation, don't stop there. Don't give up. Because if you give up and stop there, then that's going to be the reality of it. But go through it. I'm going to repeat it. Steve Harvey said, if you're going through hell, why would you stop? Keep on going, keep on pushing through. On the other side, it's going to be success. And going back to like the self-comparison, I wanted to add another point and just make it clear that it's really, really vital to understand that everybody is going to have their own unique path in life. And this all goes back to the timing thing, okay? You know, for example, I mean, we're speaking to the 20-somethings. You know, we graduated high school and now we're kind of moving on. Some went to college, some went to work, some went to the military, some made their own business. But whatever it is, everybody has their own path. And I honestly think that no one is going to have the same exact path. For example, someone straight out of high school could have just went to the pros and became a millionaire. But that's their unique path, right? And maybe another person's path is, okay, just got out of high school. Now I'm going to go to college. I'm going to go to medical school. I'm going to become a doctor. Whatever it is, everybody has something different. So it's like when you compare yourself to others, you're comparing yourself to something that's not meant for you. And that's okay. We all have our own unique thing, and that's perfectly okay. And at the same time, the people that you compare yourself to, they can't compare themselves to you because we're all different. We all have our own unique way of going about things. If I can give you an example, right? I heard a story. It was a really good example. And it was about a lady and her daughter. And, you know, the lady had her shoes and her daughter wanted to wear her shoes. And obviously, you know, she's a child. So like the shoe was not going to fit her, right? And the daughter was so eager to like try on her shoes. And the mom was like, okay, they're not going to fit you, but go ahead. So the daughter tried the shoes. She couldn't even walk in them. And I feel like that's a really good example of how everybody has their own unique way. Not everything is going to fit and work for each person. So, for example, the daughter wanted to wear the big shoes, and to put it in more realistic perspective, the daughter wanted to go down the same path as her mom, per se, and it just didn't work for her because, like I said, everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to have their own unique path. So just keep that in mind, and when you think about that, when you're comparing yourself to others, and I feel like comparing yourself to others, it's it's pretty natural, but try your best to not do it. When you understand the concept of having your own unique path and you compare yourself to others, you're able to understand like, okay, like I'm not really going to be jealous or I'm not going to be envious towards this person because, you know, now I understand that that's their path. My path is different. Maybe it'll take me 5 years to get to where I want to be, but for them it took 2 years. Okay, who cares? Focus on yourself. Focus on you because that's the most important thing. Put all that energy into yourself. It's you versus you. It's a really important thing that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people think it's them versus the world. Unfortunately, your biggest enemy could be yourself. And at the same time, your biggest motivator could be you too. So remember, every morning, take a look at yourself in the mirror and just ask yourself, who do I want to be and what am I going to do to get to that point? So point number 2 is understanding that it'll all fall in place when the time is right. And there's a couple of things there that I'll break down. The first thing is patience. Patience is very, very important when it comes down to, you know, like whatever you're seeking. If you're seeking a goal, you know, if you have a vision of what you want to do with yourself in 5 years or wherever you see yourself, you have to understand patience is important. A lot of people like that instant gratification, and I will say myself as well. I've had my times where I'm like, I don't know, man, I just can't wait for this. I want it to happen now. And I mean, to a certain extent, I still have that to this day. Like, honestly, I want my own private jet right now. I want my own yacht right now. But I understand that it takes time for that. That's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. But, like, it's real patience. I think really understanding patience and going through it all is very important. So, honestly, right now, I feel like I'm going through a season of understanding patience. I don't think I've ever truly genuinely understood patience, and with patience comes endurance too. So I feel like patience and endurance really go hand in hand. In order to be patient, you have to have endurance. You have to be able to keep on going, and at the same time just understanding that, you know, it may be going slow right now, but I know if I don't give up and I keep on going, eventually it's going to all come to fruition. So patience is very important. And I like to say that the patient thing kind of goes back to Steve Harvey's example with, if you're going through hell, why stop? You know, like, why stay there, right? If you're patient with whatever you're going through, you'll be able to have the strength to endure it and you'll keep on going. Like, let me give you a good example, right? Let's say working out, right? Exercising. Let's say you have a body goal. You want to be at this certain weight or you want to be this big, whatever it is, right? A lot of people will go to the gym for a week. They don't see any improvement. They give up. And they just go back to their old habits. And it happens to a lot of people. And I will say personally, it is easy to just kind of lose motivation when you see that there's no progress. Like you know, you don't see any progress. Like when you really start something, right? But trust me, it takes time. It could take a whole year to see progress, but it's worth it. And it's like, you have to understand, when you get to that point, like let's say a whole year of consistently working out, it's going to be easier and easier every time after that. But it's really important to have that endurance. That endurance is really important. I feel like a lot of people will tell you just be patient, but I feel like it's a little bit deeper. There's another step under patience, and that's the endurance. You have to be able to endure it all. And it's like, if you're really ambitious, like I'm a really ambitious person, so you have to grind, right? You have to grind it out. And it's like, all day I'm thinking about my future. I'm thinking about where I want to live. I'm thinking about my future family, all these good things, right? And I know it's going to come eventually, but I have to be able to endure all the hard work that is required to be put in. And it takes time. And I have to tell myself, you know, it's important to not give up. It may take you 5 to 10 years to really be where you want to be. And that is a scary number. It's like, ooh, you know, I'll be close to my 30s. It's like, do I really want to wait that long? But it's all worth it. So patience and endurance. Always remember those two go hand in hand. And the next thing that I want to talk about is everything happens for a reason. I think a lot of people think things are coincidence, but truly I believe that everything happens for a reason. And the way that this goes back to timing is that when you have a plan in life, most of the times, I'll be honest with you, it's not going to go as planned. For example, right out of college, my plan was to go straight into law school. It just didn't happen. Why it didn't happen? I just didn't get accepted. I didn't really score the best on the LSAT exam. The LSAT exam is the law school acceptance test. So, you know, I'm going to continue to try, but it kind of threw everything off. And honestly, I still don't know the reason why, but I understood that everything happens for a reason, and there was a reason why I didn't make it at that time. Maybe I just wasn't prepared for law school, or maybe some other opportunities were going to be presented to me while I'm not in law school yet. Who knows? But I'm okay with the fact that understanding that there was a reason behind it. And I mean, just kind of continuing speaking on that law school journey, right? So let's kind of paint a picture. My goal is to graduate law school and become a lawyer, right? So I have to understand, kind of going back to the patient endurance, just to get to that point is going to be a lot of patient endurance. You know, you have to study law for 3, maybe 4 years, and then you have to take one of the hardest exams in the world, the bar exam, California bar exam. But it's going to take a lot of patient endurance to get there. The important thing to understand about that, kind of going back to, you know, the important thing of understanding why everything happens for a reason, it has to do with timing, because maybe it just wasn't your time yet, honestly, and you thought that this plan was going to work out for you, but maybe it really wasn't. Maybe there's something else on the other side, or maybe, you know, you need more time to develop yourself, or you need more time to build yourself or your character. Whatever it is, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So it's like, what I really want to tell you is, if you ever get discouraged by something not going your way, or something not going as planned, or a plan just completely being destroyed, just keep in mind that there is a solid reason for it happening, and we may never understand it forever, but just be confident with that. And I really believe that once you understand that, you'll become more optimistic in life, and just be able to be more adaptable. Oh, adaptable. A tadpole. You'll be able to be more adaptable, and like, I guess you can say like versatile. So when something does happen, you're able to, you know, if your plan doesn't go through, you're able to pivot and come up with something else that is going to help you succeed. So keep that in mind. Everything happens for a reason. It's never a coincidence. I promise you, it's not a coincidence. There is a reason for it. Sometimes you will be able to, like, you know, like reflect on it in a few years and understand, oh, okay, that's probably why that happened. I understand it. And sometimes you just will never understand. That's just how it is. That's a part of life. The third point that I want to wrap to you is that the wait means that there is something greater on the other side. A lot of people, and myself included, right? It's like you work so hard and you just don't see results and stuff like that. Or maybe you prayed and something you know, your prayer didn't come through yet. From your own perspective, you're thinking like, all right, well, I guess it's not going to happen. I'm just going to give up on it. But I think what you got to understand is that maybe the reason why that prayer wasn't delivered is because you're probably not ready for it. And I feel like the wait for it is what gets you prepared for it. So for example, right, let's say you want to be a millionaire, right? You pray, I'm like, let's be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. Please let me be a millionaire. And it doesn't happen. And you start questioning like, well, like, why did my prayer not come through? And it's like, well, you know what? Let's take a deeper dive. It's like you're asking for this, but most likely you're probably not ready for it. You're asking to be a millionaire, but you cannot even manage your money. Or maybe you're just super greedy with your money. You're not generous with it. So honestly, you're not ready for it. But what I'm trying to get at is the wait and the anticipation on waiting something, on waiting your dreams, or just kind of waiting for results. You have to be ready for it. You have to be prepared for it. So it's like, let's say I kind of mentioned earlier, there's like, I'm thinking like my goals and dreams, it may take me 5 to 10 years to get where I really want to be. But within those 5 to 10 years, it's building me up to be prepared for everything else that comes after it, right? So let's say, for example, I want to start a multi-billion-dollar company. Let's just say that, for example, right? Those 5 to 10 years that I'm grinding is going to get me prepared for what's actually to come after I start the company, because it takes so much to actually start it, but it also takes a lot, like after it starts, right? You got to start dealing with so many different things. So it's like that time, you're waiting on that stuff is really building you up, and it'll happen when you're really ready and prepared for it. A lot of the things that you're wanting or you're asking for, or if I can give you another good example, let's say as a kid. Oh, actually, it's a real example. Like as a kid, like I wanted Grand Theft Auto, right? And I think when it came out, GTA 5, when it came out, I wanted it as a kid, right? And like my parents were like, no, like absolutely not. First of all, it's like rated M for mature, 17 plus. You're like 13, 14. Like, no, that's not going to happen. It's not a good game. And, I didn't understand at the time. I was like, bro, I just want to play the game, right? So my parents never let me have that game until like I was like over 18. The reason why, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to this and a lot of parents could relate and understand, but the reason why they don't want you to play that game is because at that young age, you're not prepared for what that game actually displays. And a lot of people say, no, video games don't, cause a kid to be violent or anything like that. And I'm not trying to sit there and have the argument. But what I'm saying is that game, and we can all agree that game does expose you to a lot of things. I don't think kids should be playing that game. But the bottom line is you're asking your parents for it, and they know it's not good for you at this time, at this very time in life. You may not be able to handle it because of your age and your experience. But once you get older, you're more understanding. You're not easy to be influenced. Then it's like, okay, you're prepared for this. Now it's time, it's here for you. But that took me 4 to 5 years after it came out, right? So it's really important to understand that. Don't be discouraged when things don't go your way. It's not the end of the world. It's temporary, and it's all about your timing. Like right now wasn't the right time, but who's to say 5 years later, that's when the time is right. And I know I mentioned this before in a previous podcast, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I just really love that statement because, it doesn't have to be to that extent, but it's like whatever struggle you go through, that right there builds you up as a person. It builds up your character. It makes you stronger no matter what. Like whatever you go through, and after that, if you're still alive, you are a stronger person. You come out of that a stronger person. And it's like whatever struggle you go through, it could be anything with finances, it could be anything with relationship, it could be with your jobs, whatever it is. Those tough things that you go through, I like to call them like trials. It's like it's really teaching you something. If you can get past it, you're coming out as a stronger person, more experience. And that experience is what's going to carry you on to reach your goals. And we all need those tough times. No one likes the tough times. It's not fun to be in the tough times. But it's really important to embrace those tough times because those tough times are you. So what I mean by that is those tough times make or have made you into the person you are today. And you're able to help others that may have gone through a similar experience or are going through what you've been through, and you can help them out and say, hey, I've been through this too, but listen, don't do this or do this, right? And that's really important to embrace it. So a lot of people are embarrassed of the tough times or they just don't want to reflect on it, don't want to talk about it. But honestly, I like to embrace it. I embrace when I am going through a tough time. I embrace when I'm struggling through something because I know that I won't let it happen again. I won't let it happen again. I'm only going to go through that specific struggle one time. And of course, there are certain things that we can't control, But for the things that I can control, and if it's like a struggle, I'm gonna try my best to go through it. First of all, you got to go through it, but I'm not going to let it take me. I'm not going to let it take over me. Keep that in mind. It's like you are a reflection of your tough times. The tough times could either boss you around or you can boss around the tough times. Once you boss around those tough times, just kind of learn from them, you'll be able to grow immensely. So just keep that in mind. It's really about just having a strong mindset. And when I'm talking about these things, it could really be in any aspect of life. It could be for school, it could be for starting a business, it could be for your own career, maybe within relationships, whatever it is. Just keep that in mind. And that'll do it for another episode of the 20-something Vision podcast. I really hope I was able to rap to you. I know that sounds funny, but I like saying that. But honestly, on a real note, like I really hope that I was able to help you out. And if you're in a certain type of situation, it's just really important to understand that timing is everything. A lot of things, it just has to be with the right time. I mean, maybe you're going to approach somebody, maybe it's someone that you like, or maybe somebody you want to work with. Whatever it is, it really does have to be with the right timing because, you know, you may try to talk to them and they're having a bad day, or you can talk to them when they're open, they want to talk to you. So timing is everything in every aspect of life. So remember 3 important things regarding timing. Number 1, you are where you're supposed to be. Don't focus on others, focus on yourself. When I say don't focus on others, I mean don't compare yourself to others. Understand that we all have a very unique path. Each person has their own unique path. One person may come straight out of high school and become a millionaire. The next person, it may take 10 years to make $100,000 per year. Doesn't matter. Whatever your path is, embrace your path. But don't just sit and soak on, oh man, this person did this and I'm here in life. And it's just like, oh, no. And just, trust yourself, keep it going, believe in yourself, and understand that your time will come. That's the biggest thing I could ever tell anybody is your time will come eventually. And it doesn't have to be instantly, but it will come if you continue to have that strong patience and endurance. Point number 2, when the time is right, it'll all fall in place. This is where I talked about the patience and endurance. Just reminding you that patience is important. Hear me out. Patience is really important. But there's another part to it that I believe a lot of people don't talk about, and that is endurance. You have to be able to have strong endurance to really be able to be patient. It's not easy to be patient. I'll tell you right now, it's not. If I could be in Greece right now, jumping off of a yacht, that's what I want. You know what I'm saying? So, and I want that like right now. Like tomorrow, I want to have a flight to Greece. But it's important to understand that it's going to take time. And to get to that point, there's going to be a lot of endurance that I'm going to have to go through. But if I just kind of stick with it, continue it going, I'll get there. Those 2 things go together. They go hand in hand. I don't think you could be truly patient without having strong endurance. And point number 3, the wait means that there's something bigger on the other side. And it means that the wait is what gets you prepared for what you're about to receive. It's really important to keep that in mind because a lot of people are thinking like, I'm going through the struggle. I think it's going to be like, this is it. Like, I'm not even going to try anymore. But you have to understand and embrace those struggles because you are a reflection of the struggles. And it's a really good thing to embrace those struggles because you can't let the struggles that you go through in life take you over. And if you do that, then you're just going to stay in that, that situation. If you continue to push through those struggles and, have a strong mindset towards them, you'll be good. You'll be fine. You'll get onto the other side. And at the same time, and when I say other side, you'll be on the other side, meaning you'll be successful. And it's like those struggles are going to prepare you for what you really want. It's going to prepare you for your dreams. It's going to prepare you for your goals. Remember the example that I gave you with Steve Harvey? It's like, if you're going through hell, why stop here, right? Why stop in hell? Because you're just going to be there. And like going through hell means like the struggles, or you're going through something like you have to work hard and it's tough to work hard. But whatever it is that you're going through, right? You just don't stop there. But those struggles are going to get you to the other side. These are all things that I've learned throughout my years, and I just wanted to share it with the world. I want other people to understand what helps me stay patient. A lot of it comes down to just understanding, my blessing. It's like, hey, I wasn't born as a Kardashian, or I wasn't born to Mr. Bezos or anything like that. And I understand that I have to accept and really appreciate and value my blessings and what I have in my life, and use those resources, use those blessings to make something even greater. Fully maximize my potential is what I mean. Because we're not all dealt the same cards in life. We're not. I said that before, but we're really not. And just with that, just understanding that you get your hand of cards and you try your best to win. That's the best you can do. Some people are going to have the really good deck of cards. Some people are going to have bad deck of cards. Some people are going to have an okay deck of card. But as long as you give it your all, you'll be where you want to be. So keep that in mind and get out there and make something happen. Let's get it going. Hope I can inspire you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And this has been another episode of the 20 Something Vision podcast. And like always, never let anyone step on your vision.